Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday, the 6th of June. So, euro dollar, and well, we've seen a bit of a bounce yesterday caused by the ECB reportedly ready to discuss quantitative easing exit policy as opposed to just a wind down. So, it looks like this June the 14th meeting may be a little bit more gutsy than previously thought, and the market's responding to a degree. We're already up a bit this morning. Maybe short-term overbought, but that monthly pivot's edging closer and closer. But we'll see if it actually pushes through the daily 21. It's a key point here if we get a bigger correction. So it seems to be edging it up this morning. Is there any divergence across the highs there? No, the doesn't appear so. Maybe on the RSI, no, not particularly there either. I don't think. I think that's well, maybe marginally, but it's very thin. And we're sitting there at the moment into that weekly R1. It's just sort of held things up for a little while at least. It does look like with what we're seeing, I mean, just pulled straight back. Didn't quite make the weekly pivot yesterday, but the news came out shortly afterwards, and from there onwards we've seen a pitch to the upside. So really may look for a continuation move from that. 60-minute not really give me many more clues here either. There's nothing significant on there. A bit of hidden divergence between previous lows, which has already worked its way through. So monthly pivot, as I say, looks odd. Well, I say reasonably odds on. We're already into the daily R1. The ranges have been quite tight lately. Maybe we're just getting a bit ahead of ourselves, and the comment may be soon forgotten. But trend-wise, well, when you look at this hourly, there is no really solid trend. Maybe slightly higher lows. You have to really come out the time frames to see up the time frames to see that there is a bit of an upward trend here. Just right. That's the euro. The pound. So pound. Well, yesterday pushed into previous trend line from those sort of near-term trend line that was sort of drew on here, broken through that already into the monthly pivot. It's a case of now really if that's going to follow suit here. It's looking okay as we're looking through these times. May erring on a bit of divergence, maybe not actually. Let's just have a look at maybe a bit of divergence into the hourlies there, into that monthly pivot. I've got an untouched daily pivot below. It could be a target for it at some point, but we'll see how it runs. As I say, it's done the right things. It too struggled for a bit yesterday, but not to the same degree. It came back in the afternoon, bounced nicely back off its daily pivot, and off it went. But did pop in a divergence which never really came to much, and since it looked more bullish than bearish at the moment. Dollar yen. Dollar yen. So we're sitting here also looking more bullish than bearish. It just maybe just a continuing unwinding of some positions, but it certainly hasn't had the same sort of response to the news, and it's, well, quite rightly so. The news came out regarding Europe, and there's possibly some softening of Brexit talks or the Labour Party wanting to soften the blow there, that may see the pound benefiting slightly. But dollar yen, well, it's still edging its way upwards there, back into now it's in triple top zone. Whether it can push on, we'll see. It's a difficult one really, and at some point it may reverse if the US dollar was to start weakening a little bit. Aussie dollar saw some decent results, well, half decent results. GDP came out a little bit higher than expected on the quarterly GDP data there. Came in at 1%. It just topped the estimates and has continued to progress, but most of that progress sitting through well, early Asian session there. News came out. What time did that news come out? 2:30. Yep, so it corresponds with that pretty well. Diverging where it's sitting at the moment, not looking particularly strong, and it may be the same with all these the pound, the euro, etc. They're all pushing up there. Got a bit, probably a bit overbought maybe, but we'll see what sort of correction they get. The Aussie's been a funny old one. It did actually turn a bit, probably about the same time as the other markets yesterday. So dollar weakness came through the markets around about the same time as there was positive data coming, or potential positive data on the euro there. So bit of divergence. Maybe this could roll a little bit, but the numbers are coming out and looking relatively solid, to be fair. And we are seeing on this 4-hourly basis high lows, high highs, still just, and you see the divergences kicking through there. Although the RSI did work off a lot of that. Okay, finally the Canadian dollar. If we can get it, it'll be nice. There we go. Chop chop. It continues to be looking pretty choppy. A bit of spike up yesterday to a new, to just knock it in the near-term new high, and then it's pretty much rolled over again. Let's just look through the time frames here. Quite a messy old chart overall. You can see yeah, about 3 o'clock, same sort of time as the other markets went. Saw some softening in the US dollar at the same time. This just looks, as I say, quite a mess at the moment. There's the potential that it could, if it did start rallying, we could see a push up towards that daily pivot at some point. But for now, it's a tricky old market to be trading. Yes, it did have a decent run yesterday, but it's had so much chop leading up to yesterday. It's the numbers are not good on it. The risk is high. And oil, let's just have a quick look at oil. So oil did take a bit of a shove up from yesterday. There, pushed up a little bit of a little bounce. There was comments that the US have asked OPEC to increase production. Some of the members, we'll see if that comes through to being. But divergence there on oil at the moment. Maybe a bigger retrace may come in towards that weekly pivot. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. News-wise today, there's not a lot of great news. I say great news, significant news. Whether the news is great is another matter, isn't it? Significant news-wise today, we've got an MPC, a Bank of England MPC member, speaking at 11:40, due to deliver a speech titled "Productivity Matters." What is the state of trade? Okay, may create a bit of volatility at 11:40. Probably not that much. Thereafter, trade balance for the Canadian dollar 130, not a great mover, may get a bit of volatility. And crude oil inventories, more of a mover later on for oil and possibly the Canadian dollar at 3:30 today. So that's pretty much it for today. Have a great one. Bye for now.